time, we keep it a little bit more casual than usual, and we make time to do a check-in. First of all, is anybody here for the very first time? No? Okay, good. So, does anybody have anything? We're going to do a closing treatment, so save the treatment request to the end of last. But what I was interested in knowing is, does anybody have anything that's going incredibly correctly or incredibly beautifully that you want to share? Any just check-in? Anybody? We can let Patty know that Kenny is in the house. She probably hears him. She's watching online. Okay, so nobody has a check-in. What else do you do? Go ahead.
I just wanted to say that the Prosperity Plus class is going so well, and I'm really enjoying it with all the people and know who they are. And it's been really helpful in just reshaping kind of my personal perceptions of my purpose, and just like anchoring in ways that I can further develop my passions in a productive way.
Excellent. So that's Dr. Gary's teaching that class Tuesday nights. And I think is it 8 more weeks?
Yeah.
It's 10 weeks, right?
Yeah.
So it's at 2 weeks. It may be that this was the last week to join in. You can see Dr. Gary on this Sunday, or call the office if you want to try to join in. But I'm pretty sure that it's either next week probably will be a cutoff for having new people, or it could have already been. But we're going to also, I believe, teach some other classes in the fall, which is as soon as September, which is next, like in 2 weeks. We'll get some dates on the record for foundation class. So if you've never had a foundation class in Science of Mind, it's amazing. If you took it a long time ago, I highly recommend you take it again. It's different, and you're different. And so the class is different when you're different. Okay, so are you ready to get into the talk for tonight?
Oh yeah!
Oh yeah? Do you have a check-in, James?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I know I'm kind of new here, but I'm going through a lot of intense personal change and evolution, and I just feel very welcome here. I think it's quite supportive.
You are very welcome here.
Thank you.
We appreciate you. One of the best things about Science of Mind is it knows how to greet you right where you are.
Yeah.
And there's nothing required except for a shift in your awareness and your willingness. There's no, I mean, honestly, it's the most incredible teaching because it's so practical. You can actually use it. In fact, for me, Wednesday nights are and I think Sunday should be too. We should be able to all walk away from here better than when we walked in, and not only better, but sort of higher, like a higher frequency, and expecting more of our good. If we anchor that for tonight, I'll be really happy about it, and I try to anchor that every Wednesday. Andrea?
I would like to say that you actually touch my heart there, because when I go home now, the tension is totally gone. My son is traveling on a higher spiritual level and doesn't even know where it comes from. Our animals are adjusting in an incredible way, because we are out to move here this coming week, and we are all going to be split up.
Right.
And it's quite impressible how it changed since I come here to church.
Very good. Because you've changed.
And it's not the requirement, actually, it's not a requirement, it's automatically. It's just built in to have this awareness of change. That's why we're here in the first place.
I want to make sure I heard you correctly. You said it's your awareness of the change?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, all of a sudden you become aware that the first step is
Recognition.
recognition.
Yes.
So for me I'm separate from the whole. I'm separate from everything that is including me.
Very good. And what I thought I heard, tell me if this is right, you said that now even in your house,
Yeah.
it's changed.
Yeah.
Because you walk in the house
yes.
with a different energy.
And you know what? I can hear the negative spirits. I can hear them, and then I talk to them in a lovely way.
Yeah.
because they are stuck. They are not bad. It's just
Yes.
they wanted to get my attention all this time,
Yes.
and they didn't do it any other way than rumbling and mumbling.
Yes.
And now they are under my control.
Yes.
And not under mine. It's a spirit in the house.
Right, and they
It's-
felt
I'm
hurt.
just a tool.
Well, they felt hurt. I remember we spoke about this,
Mhm.
and we also spoke about some simple things. Like even during the daytime, I was sharing that sometimes I'll just light a candle. Like
Mhm.
just even the smallest candle. Like I mean they're miniature. I might try to bring one up later. I think I have them in the practitioner table back
Right.
there. They're literally like a shot glass,
Mhm.
and just that little light. It's just a reminder for me that that little amount of light outweighs all the darkness. And so because we're energy beings and we're energy fields, we're just stuck in our body. We're not really our body, but when we look in the mirror, it tries to trick us and say, oh, you're just that body. But we're just not, we're so much more than our physical body temple. We're literally energy balls and flame. I mean, and if you want to know the power of our energy, just Kenny will give you a hug after service and be careful. And you'll feel, right? Just be careful.
Yes.
Especially be careful if you have any issues with it, whether you're going through.
Start sparking.
So the energy we bring changes the frequency and vibration
Yes, yes,
everywhere we go.
Yes, yes.
It's like a dial. You know, just like you've probably walked in a space before, right? Let's say it's a party. And there might be an area that you're drawn to, or a person or persons you're drawn to, and there might be an area that you never even go to in the party at all. You never even go to you never meet, you automatically, your soul, your spirit already knows who you need to see, why you may eventually figure out why was I drawn to these people to spend time with them and get to know them. And then there's certain people that are automatically, they're not your people, right? So it's the other thing I love about Science of Mind in all of our classes is it's based on introspective work. Even the prosperity class, I'm sure, has you doing some introspective work. Okay, right, because it's all an inside job. It's always, the answer is always turn within. The answer is always become more still. Right? The answer is always within you. Just like in the Wizard of Oz, right? What did Dorothy really have to do at the end? Just click her heels 3 times, right?
Yeah.
And say, there's no place like home.
She was already home. She was having a vision and while she was calmed out after getting
Right.
yeah.
Exactly.
So, and Howard's mother was already worried. The chicken was already accepted. And the scarecrow was already rolling.
If anybody couldn't hear all that, see Ellen.
Everyone already was what they saw after. They already had that in the toolkit.
Exactly. Love it. And click your heels 3 times. Right? There's no place like home.
Ain't no
There's
place
no
like
place
home.
like home. Right? There's no place like home. That could be a spiritual home. You could also do that in your workplace, whether or not you really are enjoying your workplace, right? You could do that at home in your relationships. You could bless your home and wherever you go, just by sending that love and radiant energy and light ahead of it to make a way, to make those crooked ways straight, to make the unexplainable maybe a little bit more perceivable to you. And the other thing I love about Science of Mind, you can proclaim that this or something greater in your treatment work and your prayer work. You don't have to outline or know. You have to know, meaning you are expecting you're good, but you don't have to know or outline what the results should be. You could always say, you could always look around for great expectancy that this or something greater shall be made manifest. And Holmes would always say, now go with great expectancy that it's already so. So you're looking for your good. You become that energetic magnet for your good. Andrea.
And I think that the vocabulary, the ABCs that we are known in society, the only communication device that we actually have, it is actually not the stop right there. It has to do with your emotion. It has to do with your soul. It has to do with your inner body. It has to do more than just man-made alphabet.
Okay,
And,
so you're saying
it's
there's
not in the books.
Okay,
It's
got
not.
it.
It's not in the letters. It's not. You can find it anywhere else. It's already inside.
Okay, and so tell me if I want to make sure I'm understanding you because I'm not sure I am.
Yes.
Are you also saying it's an intention, like a frequency of intention?
Yes.
Okay.
It's more a frequency which becomes vibrational.
Okay.
And
Yes,
it
it's
moves
a-
through.
Yes.
It's not just a letter. The dead letters is just like
Right.
A, B, C, D, E, which
And
we
it's-
put together to
Right.
make words to
And
understand.
it's a teaching symbol, and then it becomes, what does it mean to you?
Exactly.
And then it might mean something different to you than it means to James, than it means to Kenny,
Exactly.
you know, than it means to Sam,
Exactly.
than it means to Becky or.
It's a meaning behind the letter.
Exactly. And then the more you take classes, you might have taken a Science of Mind class 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. But just like when you read a great spiritual book, sometimes you just flip it open to the page and it's the right page at the right time for you
Right.
that day.
That right word.
Right? Or you just have a totally different awareness because you've evolved. Your consciousness is evolved and changed. And so tonight's topic, actually, I want to go to it because sometimes when I talk, I don't stop and then its time is over. So tonight's topic I thought was brilliant. Does anybody remember what it was?
The fullness of your divine being.
Yeah, accepting the fullness of your divine being. And so there's 2 pages, and they're out of the text that we use, which is the Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes. And there's a beautiful section that's in meditations, and so I'm going to start to go through that. And it's only really 2 pages, but I'll use some of it. I'll have us do affirmations out loud. And some of it I just want us to sort of soak in. The 2 pages are in 554 and 555. And the sections are titled, I do know the truth and I am free. Let's just say that.
I do know the truth and I am free.
One more time.
I do know the truth and I am free.
And you know that it's blank underneath it. And I kind of like that.
Empty spot.
One day in the future, I'll read what preceded that all. But for today, I'm going to go to the advanced level, which is, I do know the truth and I am free. And so if you know the truth about you, then you know you're whole, perfect, and complete now. Just say with me, I'm whole.
I'm whole.
I'm perfect.
I'm perfect.
I'm complete.
I'm complete.
Right here.
Right here.
And right now.
And right now.
Okay, and so it is.
And so
And that's how we seal our treatment or our prayer work, is by letting it go. And so the other shortcut to effective treatment, this is just my opinion, is you can if there's something you're experiencing and you don't want to experience it anymore, you can always proclaim the opposite, right? The opposite's a good place to start. So since the compliment was made tonight about the prosperity class earlier, right, Ellen? So the opposite of lack might be source, or so do you see how, or the opposite of anything that's not going well in our physical body temple, any illness or diagnosis or dis-ease, we can affirm vitality, we can affirm wholeness, we can affirm God's health is my health now, right? So what I wanted to share was you could also add in, because we are made up of different levels of knowing, right? We have a conscious, unconscious, subconscious. We don't have to get stuck on trying to figure all of it out. I might just invite you to include in your prayer work, wherever it is within me, I surrender it now. See that letting go and that surrender? You know, sometimes I even use a visual like the drain in my shower. Like I just surrender it all to the nothingness from where it came. And then you can invite in a replacement. You could say, and now that that's gone, I'm making a way for Spirit to make a way where I may not be able to see the way. But you're a co-participant with Spirit. God is where you are. You are God in form. You are Spirit in the flesh, right? So you are co-creating. Do you see that? So you can allow for anything that's not serving for your highest and best good to slip away with ease and grace. If you're really ready to surrender it, then I praise you for that. And then I always like to see if you're ready and when you're ready to, because you've made a space, now you can invite Spirit to have its full sway within me now. Do you see how that feels? Go to you.
And the logo there, right to your right side, Science of Mind logo, inviting Spirit in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the
And it's
picture
actually spirit, body, and then form, right? Which is the manifestation. Is that the end? Exactly. And you know that that's a Ricky Byers-Beckwith song lyric, right? That one about having its full sway in me. So does that make sense a little bit about that? So I took the topic from the top of the page and just gave you a little bit extra. Okay. So now I'm going to skip 554 and go to 555, which the top of the main bold line is, I accept the fullness of my own divine well-being. Let's just say that together. I accept the fullness of my own divine well-being. Do you?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you?
Yes.
Yes.
Now that's a big thing. It can be, right? And it can be a small thing. Like sometimes when I hear Andrea speak, what I'm hearing is that she always knew her divine well-being and now has been reminded of it in a very powerful way. And so when you see, so their manifestations come really strong and powerful when you have that kind of strength and power within your word and within your vibration and with your intention. So let's say that again together. I accept the fullness
I accept the fullness
of my own divine well-being.
of my own divine well-being.
Now.
Now.
All right, very good. And so I want to read a little bit from there, and then we'll see where it goes. So and if you want to allow your outer eyes to close, you could just take this in. Within myself is that which is perfect, that which is complete, that which is divine, that which was never born and cannot die. Wow. Within myself is that which is perfect, that which is complete, that which is divine, that which was never born and cannot die, that which lives, which is God, the eternal reality. Within myself is peace, poise, power, wholeness, and happiness. All the power that there is, and all the presence that there is, and all the life that there is God, the living Spirit Almighty. And this divine and living Spirit is within me. It is wholeness. Isn't that just beautiful?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, this is why I love Science of Mind. Just as James was saying, he has a lot going on, or he has said that he feels a lot going on within him that is changing and evolving and growing. Imagine the comfort if you just go to page 555 and just say one or two of those sentences, however that is, gently to yourself. Whether it's when you wake up in the morning, whether it's all day long, right? Whether it's as an affirmation, whether it's as an affirmation that you just say in your mind or you say out loud. Sometimes I think affirmation said out loud is actually more powerful. That I've been taught and trained that when your solar plex is here, it's just more powerful. And so if you can affirm that for yourself and believe that for yourself, what else really do we need to talk about tonight? We really can just pass the tithing bowl and be done, right? If you could take in those 2 or 3 sentences, to me, so far that's everything. So I'm going to go back over some of it. Is that okay? Try to take this in with me. Within myself is that which is perfect, that which is complete, that which is divine, that which was never born and cannot die. That which lives, which is God, the eternal reality. It's also in our teaching that we believe in eternality. That we don't, right? And okay. So within myself is peace, poise, and power. Let's just say that. Within myself is peace, poise,
and power.
Do you believe that?
Yes.
So let's just break it down. Within myself is peace.
Within myself is peace.
Within myself is poise.
Within myself is poise.
Isn't that a beautiful word?
Yes.
What does it mean?
Poise.
I have no
So,
idea.
okay, does anybody else want to throw in what it means? Poise.
Yeah. What does it mean?
Yeah, what does it mean?
Stillness.
James?
Motivation.
Motivation? I'm not sure.
The visible appearance of grace personified through your action and word, I would say.
Say it in the mic, girl.
Okay,
In one word?
Don't say it slower.
okay, the
appearance
of grace.
Of grace.
And an inherent fluidity, like fluidness,
And an inherent fluidity
that is contained within your word and action.
that's contained within your word and action. So for me,
I don't know, that's just one.
okay, that's what you say. Okay, go ahead, Tia.
It's a personification of eloquence.
Yeah, I like
A
that.
personification of
Eloquence.
eloquence. That's another hard word, but a beautiful word. Eloquence. Like, to me, eloquence can be an elegance. It can be It can be someone who's really articulate.
Yeah.
To me, poise can mean unwavering or anchored in spirit. Like I think of the way that this word is being used, poise, as a spiritual poise, which means no matter what's happening in my outer environment or my world or the material world, I am steadfast in the knowing that right where I am, God is. That's how I'm reading this poise, but it's everything that everybody's saying.
And I think of the I in poise is like I pose. I am in the position of receiving.
Like a poser or...
No, like a yoga pose.
Right,
Like you're poised in the yoga pose.
See, and I did the poser on purpose. I did the poser on purpose because you cannot fool spirit. Right? And you cannot, when you do your treatment work and you let it go, if you believe it in the mental equivalent that it's done at 100%, it will manifest now at 100% because it's scientific. And so if you pose, it's not necessarily bad, but it's not necessarily real either, you see? Unless you're...
Connotation, yeah. It's how we
Exactly.
receive the word in our...
Exactly. And I'm also saying the pose because some of the tools to get to the poise of not being moved, to being anchored on that rock of spirit, are the tools like affirmation, the practice of saying some of these powerful things until you can really embody them and imbue them in your beingness, right? All right. Is that good on poise? Everybody you got poise and elegance?
Got
Or
one
eloquence?
man. Thank you.
No problem. So let's keep going because this is to me too good and I'm probably already over time. We'll see. Did everybody already get that within myself is power? Did we say that already?
No.
Yeah, we did.
We did.
But yeah.
Let's go over it one more time. Within myself
With
myself
is power.
is
It's
power.
Now, we don't really use very much in percentage of our real power, do we?
No.
I think we're afraid of our power.
Yeah.
I gotta say that if we did another shortcut, it's practitioners are really trained to see the spiritual perfection of the situation or the person before them requesting treatment, as simple as perfect God, perfect man. Perfect God, perfect man. We don't always need to know all the nitty-gritty. We just need to know that it's spirit that made each of us whole, complete, and perfect, and that power that created you, powers you, right? So we're just at a knowingness that's at this level of surety that we're inviting you to rise to. And you can have a healing from the practitioners knowing about you. I feel really strongly that we should each be our own healer. And so I'm inviting each of you to know your own power and proclaim that power. And to use your power for good. And to use your power for truth with a capital T, because Science of Mind believes all the great teachings throughout all the great religions of the world. And it's with a capital T. Okay, let's keep going for just a little bit. All the power that there is, and all the presence that there is, and all the life that there is God, the living Spirit Almighty, and this divine and living Spirit is within me. Let's just say that. This divine and living Spirit is within me.
Is within me.
Is it?
Yes.
It is wholeness. It is wholeness. Listen to this next sentence. Are you with me?
Yes.
It is never weary.
It
It is
never
never weary.
Just say, I am never weary.
I am never weary.
Do you know what weary is?
Yes.
See, weary we've got down. However, eloquence and poise, right? That's the power. That's us sort of being a tad afraid to really know our power and to embrace our power. That's what I love about this teaching. It is never tired. Let's just say, I am never tired.
I am never tired.
Okay. It is life.
It is life.
Just say, I am life.
I am life.
It is complete.
I am complete.
It is complete peace.
It is complete peace.
It It is never afraid.
It never
never
afraid.
afraid,
It is never confused.
It never
never confused.
Now, was I asking everybody to repeat that? No. And are you? Yes, it's great. Do you see how beautiful this is?
Yes.
It's just, let's just do that
It's
with
awesome.
an I am. I am never afraid.
I am never afraid.
I am never confused.
I'm
Never
never
confused.
Excellent. I am peace.
I am peace.
I am complete peace.
I am
completely
peace.
Very good. It is always poised and peaceful. It is always in a state of perfect equilibrium. Does everybody get the equilibrium?
Yeah.
Yes.
This is the truth about myself. There is no other self.
Amen.
Do you see that? So when that's that I am on that rock at that truth, right? So sometimes we're tempted to believe what maybe somebody else has said about us.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Right? I mean, it's tempting. Sometimes just we're human. We're having a human experience. It may be somebody we really love. It could be a family member. You know, there's a lot of fighting happening, even within politics, even within, you know, race and race relations, even within workplaces or families or relationships. There are relationships where, because of politics, they're on two separate sides. There are people who work within the government whose spouses are tweeting against the places that their spouses go into work.
Fight with each other about it.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you can even talk to each other about that. At the same time, did you all heard what we were just reading, right, from page 555?
Yes.
I love that. There is no other self. So sometimes the easiest way to get back to the poise or that truth is to just affirm the spiritual self. You see? You can be aware that something else is trying to get your attention. And as you're aware of that, remember like in the meditation where there was the visual, that you can have your thoughts as clouds passing. You don't have to acknowledge, or you can acknowledge them, but you don't have to believe all of them. You see? Like you can be mindful, there's a word mindful that comes up a lot in our teaching, of what's happening through you, but you don't have to claim it as the as you. It doesn't have to have power. It's whatever we believe, whatever our intentions are, those are the creative things that we put into manifestation. And so if you don't like that, you have the power to make that change. Sound good? I think we're almost done. And I read literally only this much. Because I really feel this is like a cheesecake. You can't eat the whole cheesecake, you might not feel good after you eat it. Right? It's really delicious if you just take a couple bites. Right? Do you feel complete, or you want to try a couple more sentences?
Couple more.
Let's
Okay,
do
then do
more.
a couple more.
Just a couple.
Oh, this is excellent. Every image of fear is erased from my mind. Every sense of confusion leaves my thought. My mind now entertains and reflects the divine into everything which I do, say, and think, into my body, into my affairs. That divine within me is wholeness, and my mind reflects this wholeness into every organ, every function, every action, every reaction of my physical being, renewing it after the perfect pattern, the Christ within me. Universal substance reflects itself into my mind, into daily supply, so that everything I need each day is supplied. Before the need is the thing, and with the apparent need, it is met. There is something within me which goes before me and prepares the way wherever I go, making it straight the way, making perfect the way, making immediate and instant and permanent and harmonious every situation. Consequently, my mind reflects the fullness of that divine substance, which heals every sense of lack in my life. Peace, poise, power, perfection, living spirit within me is me, myself. I accept the fullness of my own divine well-being. Let's say that. I accept the fullness of my own divine well-being. And I'm just going to go back over the first couple sentences of what was just read, because really this is all about James. Not to, right? Yes. This night is I mean, I did not pre-read all this, but it's that statement that you said where there's shifts that are happening. It's happening to all of us all the time. At the same time, some of them are so intense that this might help to allow for some greater expression to make itself known as each of our lives. And so I want to thank you for sharing what you shared earlier, and just read these next couple sentences. Every image of fear is erased from my mind. Every sense of confusion leaves my thought. My mind now entertains and reflects the divine into everything which I do. See, we already spoke about that before, where we said, let everything go, surrender, and then allow for a space for Spirit to make a way. I always like the idea, too, that you can say, surprise me, right? You can just say to Spirit, surprise me, show me. There's, you know from Agape with Ricky, use me, show me, guide me. These are simple, easy, repeatable affirmations or prayers you can use at home right now. The divine within me is wholeness, and my mind reflects this wholeness. In every organ, every action, and every iad, cell, and fiber of my being. That's how we get to the health and wholeness. My mind now entertains and reflects the divine into everything which I do, say, and think. Got it? So let's just close again with the affirmation. I accept the fullness
I
accept the fullness
of my own